ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ನೋಡೋರು ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಬಟನ್ ಹೊಡೆಯೋದು, ಗಂಟೆ ಹೊಡೆದು ಮರಿಬೇಡ್ರಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಹಾಕೋ ಹೊಸ ವಿಡಿಯೋದ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ತಕ್ಷಣಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ.
Good morning, children. Now I will tell you a story, The King's Ministers. Now you listen and enjoy this story. Okay? There was a lion who was the king of the forest. He was fierce and strong. A king must have ministers to help him, the lion thought one day, and he called a fox. You are known to be very wise and clever. I want you to be my home minister. I thank you for this honor, Your Majesty, said the fox. Then the king called a leopard and said, You are known to be very alert and swift-footed. You will be my defense minister. Thank you, Your Majesty, said the leopard. The next to be called was a crow. You can fly high in the sky, so you will be my minister for external affairs.
I am grateful to you, Your Majesty,
said the crow. The three ministers swore to remain loyal to the king, and the lion in return promised to give them food and protection. When the lion went hunting, they helped him to find the prey. After having his fill, he would leave the remains for them. Thus, they always had enough to eat. One day, the crow said to the king,
Your Majesty, have you ever eaten camel meat? It is very tasty.
The lion had never seen a camel, but he liked the idea of tasting camel meat. Where can we get a camel? The king asked. I have
seen a lone camel in the desert. It looked very fat and big,
said the crow. Next morning, the lion and his three ministers set off for the desert. They had to travel for miles. At last, they reached the desert. The hot sand of the desert burnt the lion's paws. Stop! roared the lion. Let's go back to the forest. I don't care for camel meat. The three ministers didn't want to lose this opportunity of enjoying camel meat, but they could eat it only after the lion had killed the camel. The clever fox at once thought of a plan. Off he ran and came to the place where the camel was sitting.
Hello, friend,
he said to the camel.
How lucky you are. Our king has invited you to his court. Now please hurry up and come with me.
I haven't heard of any king, said the camel. I know only my master, for whom I carry heavy loads across the desert. The fox said, Our king is the brave lion. He has killed your cruel master, and now you are free. The good king has invited you to come and live with him in the forest. The camel followed the fox happily. When they reached the lion's camp, the crow and the leopard were surprised. Even the lion was pleased in spite of his burnt paws. The camel was presented to the king. Get on the camel's back, Your Majesty, said the fox. We will return home fast. The lion at once jumped on the camel's back. The leopard and the fox sat behind him, with the crow flying ahead. As a guide, they reached the forest all hungry and tired. The three ministers looked at the camel with greedy eyes. The lion knew what his ministers were thinking. He turned to the camel and said, Brent, I must thank you for saving my life. You are welcome to live with me in my forest as long as you like. I promise you my protection. The ministers were shocked to hear this. They had all the time been longing to eat camel's meat, but they said nothing as they were afraid of the king. The lion too was feeling very hungry, but his paws were badly burnt and he couldn't go to hunt by himself. Oh, fox, leopard, and crow, he said. Don't you see I am tired and hungry? Go at once and get me some food. The ministers had to obey the king, so they went, but not very far. They sat down under a tree to discuss what to do. The fox came up with a clever plan. The others agreed to it, and back they went to the king. Bowing low, the crow stepped forward first.
Your Majesty,
He said,
we are sorry for that we have found no food, but we can't let you starve. I am your most faithful servant, and you can eat me. It will be my pleasure if I can satisfy your hunger.
The fox at once pushed the crow aside and said,
O king, please eat me first. I have more flesh than other crow.
Then the leopard rushed in and said, I am even bigger, Your Majesty. You can eat me first. The camel was deeply moved by the loyalty shown by the three ministers. He too thought it his duty to offer himself as food for the king. Your Majesty, he said, these three ministers of yours can be so useful to you. Therefore, I pray that you eat me instead. Hardly had the camel spoken these words when the three ministers got ready to pounce on him. But the lion stopped them immediately and said, You are all so true and faithful to me. I am deeply touched by your offers, and I accept them all. I shall eat all of you, but in the same order in which you offered yourselves. The ministers looked at each other. There was no moment to lose. Away flew the crow, away ran the fox, and away fled the leopard. The lion had a hearty laugh. Oh, friends, are these my friends? He turned to the camel and said, You have proved my most loving and loyal friend. You shall live with me all your life. No harm shall ever come to you. And two lived on happily together.